Hello Taurus, welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be looking at the month of November, and as always you can watch this for Sun, Rising, Moon, or Venus, and you can watch it either in advance of the month or as the month is unfolding. I always get started with channeled messages and then I move into the Celtic Cross. This is basically the way I connect directly to spirit. It's through dreams and meditation, and this morning it was a mix of two. I had this beautiful dream where I just saw all of these glittering things on the water. And let me just go back one slide. As I was tuning into it, I'm like, what is this? What are these beautiful shapes? And I was thinking back to school when I studied about these organisms called diatoms. And so basically think of them as algae, but instead of having like a regular pliable cellular wall, it's almost like a glass-like structure. So the crystalline, and it's silicate basically. So it's the one life form on this planet that isn't solely carbon-based. It's kind of a combination of carbon and silicate. I'm geeking out for a second, but the cool thing here is that crystal clarity is part of this, so crystallizing in on a vision. And then also, because of the transparent energy, it's about shining light through something, really seeing to the heart of the matter. And I think both of these are just such beautiful images and messages for this month that I can't wait to see what the cards have to say as well. So as I was just saying, this is a very unique subcategory of algae. Inside that sort of crystal shell, there are cells that basically help photosynthesize, take light and turn it into energy. And these little tiny things that float in the ocean make up about 20 to 30% of the oxygen that we breathe. So they are a significant and an important piece of the ecosystem. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest piece of anything, an experience, is sometimes the most important. And so we want to be present, breathe. Breathing is part of what they do. So breathe in this moment, be grateful for the big and the small things. The little accomplishments matter just as much as the milestones. And you don't have to fit into a predetermined or pre-described sort of shell, because these organisms, because they're not completely carbon-based, they have shapes that are unique, like triangles and squares and stars and circles and cigars. So all of these weird shapes for us, it's kind of cool to kind of think how if we were just not sort of constrained by a cookie cutter vision of how something might be, what it might actually take shape and take form to be. So keep an open heart, keep an open mind, be expansive. Good things come in small sizes too. And it's kind of like enjoying something really tasty. Rather than swallowing that cookie in one bite, take a bunch of little bites, really, really enjoy each and every morsel, okay? And finally, that last piece there, the crystal quality is representing getting clear on something. In the minor arcana, this would be, kind of equated to the Two of Wands. Being able to see, understand, and kind of wrap your head around a vision so that other people can do the same. All right, welcome everybody. So good to see you. Let's see what messages want to present themselves during this period. All right. I already love what I see here, especially with this really unique judgment card, which is rebirth here. And I just have to note before I finish shuffling everything, we have like a birth and a rebirth here. So for some of you, you're at this pivotal place where you're maybe having a couple of opportunities to launch a project or shed your skin or do something new. It's going to be exciting to look at this reading. I can already tell. Let me focus on getting the rest of the cards and then we'll dig into this. All right. So in the catalyst position here, we have an hourglass, and it has just been reset. For those of you that have ever worked with an egg timer, a 3-minute egg timer, or an old-fashioned hourglass, if maybe your grandparents had one, you know that when the sand runs out, you just flip it upside down. So a reversed hourglass is showing me a reset. And the card itself is about waiting. And this is basically saying that there are some things in life that we can't really rush. If you're cooking, desserts in particular, those of you that are bakers out there, there's a certain amount of time, just like there are certain required ingredients that go together to make something work. So number one, don't rush. If you have to do a certain amount of things in a certain amount of time, like just kind of make peace with that. The other thing is, if we take a look at the roots and they're upside down, give yourself a chance to find your footing. If you've just been transplanted or transferred or have moved, like in a company or in a job, or you feel like there's something that's shifting in your life, the first thing to do is to just assess the moment here and see what's going on around you. Like the Hanged Man, see it from a different perspective, get your footing, and then decide what to do next. Slow down, breathe, assess. Then you can figure out which path makes sense for you. Also, and this is so important for those of you, especially if you're in like a company or school, and there's just these arbitrary deadlines and demarcations of time. So when you're in school, it's often like semesters. When you're at work, there's quarterly check-ins and annual check-ins. And sometimes there's just deadlines, like you decide to launch a product, or you have to turn in something by a certain time. Sometimes it's not done. Sometimes the idea isn't fully baked, but you do it anyway. So in everyday life, if we can avoid just trying to do something because others are doing it, or we were expected by our parents or society to do a certain thing by a certain age, I think that's going to benefit you. Everything in divine timing. Be patient. Wait a second more. Assess the situation, then make your move. Get your footing first and foremost. And the most powerful piece on this, and we can see it, I'm going to have to zoom out just a little bit because we have so many beautiful cards here. Rebirth, birth. So there's a chance here to decide, if I stay, I'm really going to make a splash in a situation. If I go, I want to make sure that I can do this differently. So you have this moment here to wait and decide which end of the hourglass. Are you staying? Are you going? Are you willing to kind of really embrace this as the rebirth moment that it wants to be? I hope you are. All right, let's go ahead and begin with your centermost card. We have a fantastic energy here, the 10 of Pentacles. I'm going to feature the traditional card for just a second, and then we'll talk about the differences between them. So we have a Rider-Waite-Smith version here. You can see the Tree of Life, all the pentacles overprinted. On top of this, it can be family, it can be a professional network. We see loyalty here. We even see a little kid. There's a chance for you to really make a splash right now and reach out to a lot of different types of people. So in business and in life, you are very dynamic and very engaging in this period of time, in this next 6 to 8 weeks. If you want to finish something, you can finish it. If you're looking for additional support or resources, get out there and network. This card is all about the network. Now, what is it that could be holding you back? Just general perspective. This person has accomplished the same thing that this person did, but everybody here is a lot more present and engaged. Whereas when we look at this card, he almost looks bored, right? Like, now what? Or how do I get here? Or just not connected. So if you're feeling that you've accomplished all that you can with something this month, the good news, folks, is not only do you have the green thumb, because we have the Queen of Pentacles, but we see a birthing energy here with the Sun and a rebirthing energy here with Judgment. So a couple of new opportunities are percolating here. So not only that, by the way, do you see there's a rabbit in both of these here? So Queen of Pentacles, development, birthing, nurturing, money, all of those things she comprises. And now we see stepping through challenges, or kind of like you're getting a second chance at something and you're going to come out even stronger. The bunny is even bigger on this particular deck. And this baby is upright and ready and, to hit the ground running, if you will. Already knows how to walk. All right, so with the Queen of Pentacles here, she's asking you, what's next? What do you really want to do next? And also, are you doing enough at present to take care of yourself? Yes, she is the eternal mother, Again, penultimate mothering card, second only to the Empress. But she also comes through as a chance to say, we have to nurture ourselves so that we have more than enough to give to others. So when was the last time you took care of yourself, you got enough sleep, you asked for something, asked for a day off? This is a month to do all of that. She also connects to the house and home, as does the Ten of Pentacles. So this might be a time where some of you are thinking of selling a home or doing some home improvements. These two cards are favorable. They were both in, this was in an upright position and this was crossing it. So ostensibly they're both upright. Just really focus on doing something that feels right for you, and you should get a decent return on the energy. Again, if you want to launch something this month or announce something, we see it making a splash. And again, with all the boss energy that's coming through here, I feel really confident about your potential to engage with others. Looking at the deep past, we have the modern version here of the Temperance card. If you zoom in really closely, we see this beautiful rainbow, person standing on top of that hill. We still have the balancing elements here of the Temperance card itself. Let's look at the traditional Temperance angel just for comparison. What you'll notice with this is that the angel has 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the ground. There's a path behind them. And before they go into that path, they have to find balance. This is a chance for you to find that balance in your life. What is it that's taking you out of that feeling of being, sort of connected or zen? And this is very alchemic here as we're looking at her. She's going to get the balance right, get the recipe right, get everything exactly the way it needs to be, and then take that step in the right direction. As we look here at your recent past, we have the Seven of Pentacles. The card did come through reversed, so there is basically a momentary pause here that many of you should take before committing to something new. Here's your traditional Seven of Pentacles just for basically comparison. What you can see is that you can't rush growth or recovery, and that you don't want to stretch yourself too thin, especially with your schedule or your money. So this is basically an invitation to say no to things that don't really connect with you. It's a chance for you to plan ahead and say, I need to conserve a little bit of this. I'm willing to put the energy there. It's very kind of intentional expenditures when it comes to time, energy, money, and all resources. And then, lo and behold, you'll have a chance to reap the rewards. So it's a very good card, especially in this spread, because we see that not only can you accomplish and learn everything that you want to, but you can actually go beyond that if you set your mind to it. They're all, did you notice this, by the way? I'm just acknowledging it here, but Queen of Pentacles on top of the 7, 10, and 8. 7 is about not rushing, being present, not overextending. The 10 is about, again, giving some gratitude and really seeing how far you've come and knowing what contracts you're getting into, knowing that you have power to change and voice and edit them if you want to. We'll talk more about the editing in just a second. As we look at your crowning card, it's one of the ultimate boss cards here, the King of Wands, second only to the Emperor. And basically this is saying if you want to do something this month, don't be afraid to speak up. If you need to kind of lead something, you have everything that it takes to do so. And it's really just a matter of positioning yourself. I'm looking at his posture too. So I think for some of you, it could be a combination of the way you're holding yourself, the way that you're speaking, and it's kind of like a coach would psych up a team before a key game. And it's interesting that you would say psych up, because it's about the psyche. We really need to make sure that you believe whatever it is that you're about to put out there into the world. If you believe in yourself, I believe in you. If you don't, it's going to be really difficult to win over other people. So focus on clarity of vision, belief in self, preparedness, kind of getting your grounding, making sure that, as we saw with Temperance, that you've done the work to get balanced, and knowing that even if there was a challenge in the past, this time around, it's going to work out. Okay? So lead by example, lead the charge, be the boss that this card says that you can be, and good things are coming. This also, by the way, if we take the boss and leadership energy out, it's one of the most inventive and imaginative cards that I could pull. And we don't always talk about that with the King of Wands, but it should be mentioned. So you can think your way through anything. You can solve just about any puzzle, problem, or challenge. And when things get rough this month, remember that I said that. It's just about believing in yourself and trying something new. Okay? Now let's take a look at the near future. This is the Eight of Pentacles, which can represent a couple of things. First of all, it is a card of learning. So for those of you that want to focus on training, getting a skill, we see someone here really putting their heart and their mind into it. The card in reverse can show that it may take a little bit more time and energy up front. There's a learning curve, but nonetheless, you will learn it. You will accomplish it. The center card was the Ten of Pentacles. This is a card that shows a percentage of completion. So you're pretty close, 80% or greater, close to getting something done. In reverse, it's saying that extra 20%, you may want to think way outside of the box. You may need to kind of get really, really imaginative with it. This is also a really great card for those of you that are writing something, and it does not have to be a creative work. It can be a legal document. It can be a patent. It can be a curriculum. It can also be a book. Even like an entertainment book. But whatever you're doing, recording it and somehow putting it in a way that people can download or read or be able to interact with, that's going to be really valuable right now. So for those of you, this could even be like programming an application or something. Pay attention to the details. This is a time to be really, really productive and put everything through that sort of filter of making sure that it's the best possible output. You can see this person taking their time. Don't rush, particularly with the finishing touches. In both the Eight and the Three of Pentacles, those final sort of like finishing touches and attention to detail, that's what sets you apart. That's what's going to make you shine. That's what's going to open up doors of opportunity for you. You are coming through with this beautiful energy of the sun. This is one of the best cards to represent you. Why? Well, look at the beautiful energy around this baby. It's showing charisma. It's showing brilliance. Brilliance not just in the auric field, but also like your imagination, your thoughts, your capacity to understand. And again, we got a very brilliant crowning card too. Why is it reversed, you're asking me? Well, some of you are maybe afraid to show your true colors. Both the star and the sun reversed hold back a little bit. They dim the light. And I want you to go to your maximum wattage this month because you have the capacity to really make some exciting things happen. You may have been holding back and waiting for a moment to speak up, a moment to announce something, to take a fork in the road and try something new. That moment is now. The sun card reversed is a delayed birth, and it's a chance now to basically say, I'm going to let this go so that I can learn how to walk. I can get out there. I can explore the world, and I can answer the call. We have, again, release and then just new opportunities. This is not the end, it's the beginning. As we look at the environment card, we have the Princess of Wands. So this is a page in this particular deck. There could be an incoming offer for some of you. Someone could be knocking on the door, the virtual door, and saying, hey, are you interested in this? It could be love, it could be a job. It could also be something where someone's even maybe trying to connect you. Hey, you should talk to this person about this. So I see an incoming connection. It looks fortuitous. It looks good. And it is, this is more ideas than resources. So this does strike me as a person who can make things happen for you rather than just money or just a contract. This is coming through for some of you because you've been doing the network building here. So for those of you that are either retired or in your mid-career, this is about making sure that you continue to network with peers, with friends, with colleagues. And the next big thing, whatever that's going to be for you, will come through that group of peers. And one of them's coming forward and saying, hey, you mentioned this a while ago, and maybe you've been waiting for a long time for something to happen. This person can come through and the wait is over. So there's a connection. Wands is very much connected to ideas and people, less so to exact like resources. So a person is coming through that can open up a door for you, okay? For some of you also, it's an idea that you want to share with others that people will be interested in. We also see a partnership opportunity. This strikes me a bit more, especially on the diagonal, as a mentor and a mentee. Here's the expert. Here's the person that's learning. This is the actual lesson. For those of you that want to share something with the world, it looks like people are interested in this. This is exactly what's needed. So again, whether it's a curriculum or a story or instructions, there's something of value where you can share and others can benefit. And if it's something that's a profit-based venture, you can profit from that as well, okay? Now let's look at hopes, fears, and opportunities. The Eight of Swords is a card where sometimes you feel like you're in the dark. It's mostly in the fear space here. So what you can do whenever you have the Two or the Eight of Swords is to ask questions. And sometimes it's because the person maybe didn't communicate clearly, or you just don't understand, or you're not confident that you understand. So what you can do then is just validate assumptions and say, before I proceed, I want to make sure that I completely understand what you said. This is my interpretation. Did I miss anything? Also, I have an idea. So you can kind of get it all out there. Make sure that you ask questions and don't ignore something if you don't know. It's better to ask, always better to ask. We'll talk about this when I look a little bit more at health, but this could be a feeling of being stuck or trapped. And so for some of you, it might be a chance to get out of a relationship or a job that's kind of constricting or restrictive and isn't allowing you to kind of, figuratively breathe and be yourself. It could also be it's important to kind of look at things like hearing and seeing. So eye and ear doctor, it's a good time to go to either of those right now. Okay, let's get to the meat of this reading. This is your outcome. So near future, Eight of Pentacles. So this is learning, this is quality, this is people that really connect with what it is that you're doing. And now we have a chance to kind of like build off of that, rebirth, judgment. So the traditional judgment would have Archangel Gabriel blowing the horn. Here we just have a person on the side blowing the horn. And then we have souls rising up from the dead. Instead of the souls here, we just have the baby. And we also have the bunny showing that not only can this second chance come around, but things will start to happen fast. And you have a green thumb this month. One last thing to mention with this card is that we can see it right between seasons. So you could either imagine this, it really looks like spring to me. So what's interesting about spring is, trees sometimes look like they're not alive. We know they're just dormant, but if you were coming to this planet for the first time, you would think, what's wrong with that? You're coming out of a stage of dormancy or stagnation, some of you, into an activated moment here. So even though we are entering into winter months here in the Northern Hemisphere, this could be a really amazing growth period. I've talked about this before. Some of my best work and experiences have happened in October, November, December, and January. I find them to be extremely magnificent months when it comes to business and personal development, relationships, opportunities. I've started and stopped some of my biggest sort of milestones during this period of time. So just because things look outwardly dormant, that doesn't mean that something amazing couldn't happen. Just because our days are getting shorter here in the Northern Hemisphere, that doesn't mean that you can't do something amazing. Today, it's we have all this light coming through, but join me in a couple of months where it's going to be darker, and remember this message. It's going to be important, especially for November, because things will start to shift a little bit more then. For those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, it's just saying enjoy this moment. You're probably already in the throes of the Ten of Pentacles, so really take a moment to enjoy what's going on. All right, let's expand the forecast. We're going to look a little deeper at health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with the energy first of health. This is your mind, body, and spirit. The message on this card says, stay still until you are divinely moved. Where you are is where it's at. So don't force something until it feels right for you. If there is a parent or a teacher or a leader in your life that is basically just kind of pushing you too far, too fast, you need to slow down until you feel good about it. It has to, kind of like the sun, right? You have to shine from the inside out. You have to believe it and feel it from the heart and the head, and then everything else is going to resonate with that belief. So this is focusing on your needs, your feelings, your desires. And when those are starting to align and illuminate what it is that you need and want to do, then step forward. You've got to believe it. You've got to see it and feel it inside first, and then everything else will kind of fall into place. All right, let's look at some other messages with health. I already mentioned Eight of Swords. This can be going to audiologist or ophthalmologists or optometrists, basically getting eyes and ears checked out. Good time for that. Also, for those of you that have had some issues in the past with a close brush with a health challenge, I don't necessarily see it happening again or anytime soon, but sometimes there's the fear. It's always better to know what's going on in your body. So these two cards together are just encouraging you to get that annual physical, and also to do the research if there's something that maybe hasn't been sort of bubbled up in your conversations with whoever it is that you talk to. You're just as capable of bringing up ideas to this conversation as anyone else. So do your homework, basically, is what I would say. All right. The solar plexus is connected with the sun card. So for some of you, this is just an encouragement to work out the stomach area a little bit more, to pay attention to digestion. For those of you that are looking to have a baby, this can also represent a birth or a surprise pregnancy because the card was in reverse. So if you're trying to get pregnant, this is a good time. And if you're not, be mindful of that. I think work-life balance is so important. Normally, I would ascribe that one to the Two of Pentacles, but I'm very much getting that with this Temperance card here. It's important to take care of your living situation. So house, home, and living environment or working environment. Let's really pay some special attention to that this month. Otherwise, most of these cards are really manageable and really good. So I'm feeling good about it. There's not a lot more to say here except whatever you want to do, whatever you need to do, it has to feel right for you. So don't make any changes until you're ready. Okay, let's move on to wealth. All right, your card in wealth is the word wants to be written. Amen to that. That is your Eight of Pentacles energy coming through. We have all these butterflies coming through, a transformative change. We even see it right around our throat chakra. So this is a month where you might have to be the voice of change, of wisdom. You might have to ask a question, like I was saying with the Eight of Swords. I'm not clear on this, or have you thought about this, or why not this? We just talked about that for health. So maybe you have to bring something to a doctor's attention or to someone else's attention and say, we need to fix this for our health and well-being. So speak up. Absolutely. Your voice is your power, and your voice can change things in a very significant way this month. Also, you can ask questions about why there are certain arbitrary deadlines that are in place, or again, if you need some support in finding the grounding or the resources that you need, speak up. Now, I am not overly worried at all this month about your general capacity to land on your feet, because we see a nice transition here from the 7 to the 8, but then we see possibilities with that 10 of Pentacles at the center, and then the Queen touching all of these. So it's all resource cards here. So as long as you're willing and ready to speak up and ask questions, I see opportunity knocking, okay? Speaking of that, we have this Princess of Wands here. This could be someone in your life that, again, is like one step away from a person that you need to meet. This could be you sharing your ideas with others. There could also be a really great training or mentorship opportunity that's aligning with you. Now, let's take a quick glance at 3 different life sort of perspectives, and then we'll move on to love. For those of you that are starting or restarting, so this can be students or seniors that are going back into, or even just parents that are going back into the work world. First of all, for those that are finishing up a degree, good stuff coming from this. However, things have changed even in this short amount of time that you might have been in school. So whether it was 6 months or 4 or 5 years, it's a different world now. So don't be afraid to repackage your skills or try some new things. Also, if you had some challenges, let's say you couldn't get into the school of your choice, or you've been having a hard time finding the first job, keep trying here. We see that it might take a couple of attempts here, and eventually you land on your feet, okay? The key way to kind of finding that support is through the friends, family, peers, that network. So really do your networking right now. I think that money is an important thing to take into consideration, particularly for those of you going after education. Look for scholarships, look for other opportunities, find a place where you're going to be able to grow without feeling that sense of financial weight afterwards and anchor. If you are mid-career, some of you are ready to leave. We have judgment. You've made your mind up. We have rebirth here too, which means that you could start something on your own if you want to, because we have a big old boss card at the top here. Some of you are ready for that change, but you're not seeing anything on the horizon. This is sending out some feelers, the Page of Wands. Ultimately, I feel like overall, if you're mid-career, I would say putting more money into long-term investments, thinking of the future, especially for those of you that want to start a family or that just want to be able to take care of yourself, that's important. This card can also represent news that's being delivered to you. So sometimes this comes in the wake of restructuring or layoffs, or something of that matter. But what's great about this is, I said, when one door closes, another opens. So if you are in a situation where you have to leave, or you've chosen to leave, or you just don't like the environment anymore, I think you're going to be able to land on your feet, or you're going to be able to reach out to someone for some advice and support during this period. For those that are retired, in this moment in time, it looks like one of the things, or I would say unemployed or not focusing on work. The main thing is to have some fun. The inner child wants to come out. You may also want to spend more time with your children or with younger people to give back. Teaching, and especially these three in a row, this can be giving back to the next generation, which is always an admirable thing. Now let's move on to relationships. When we're looking at this, it can basically touch upon all the different types of relationships that we have. This card was reversed. It was the hawk. So this is about getting a bird's eye view and looking at things from a different perspective. But we'll read this almost poem-alike message here. Spirits sending you messages. So are you listening to your partner? Do you feel seen and heard? That's actually one thing that comes right off the bat here. Pay attention to details, pay attention to signs. If someone's interested or if they're not interested, those types of things as well. Open your greater vision to see the signs. We just talked about that. Focus on priorities and eliminate distractions. This is really, it has a lot to do with the Temperance card and the Seven of Pentacles. By not overextending, by saying no, you're going to be able to actually do less but do it better, and then ultimately bring in more abundance. You have a bright future. Let yourself ascend to new heights. Amen to that. Because why? We have the Sun card. What does the sun do every day? It rises. It's a reminder that each day is a reset. Going back to your Catalyst card here. When one day is done, give yourself a chance to approach the next one without prejudice, without all of those feelings of, fear or anxiety or entitlement. Just sort of say, this is a new day. This is a new opportunity. All right, we're going to break this down into 3 different areas. Those in a relationship, looking for love, or single and happy. Starting with those in a relationship. It's a really important time to plan for the future. The Ten of Pentacles is, again, a foundational card. It's one about the sort of structure of marriage. So making sure that if you're entering into a contract, that you do things like, prenuptial agreement. You talk about your financial history, things of that nature. For those of you that have been married for a while or partnered up for a while, it might also be about planning for the future, particularly looking at things like wills and trusts, and also just beneficiaries. I know these aren't really sexy things to look at, but they're important things if you're building a future together. I see in the deep past for some of you that you've overcome some constraints with finances. So kudos to you. For those of you that are still dealing with some challenges, together you can manage this and you've got it, as long as you have open communication. And I think that now looking at communication, validation is going to be so important. I saw that you did that and it meant a lot to me. Or it looks like you're going through a really tough day. What can I do to help? Checking in. Because this person here feels like they're alone, but they're not. I see so much love and support in this spread that anything is possible as long as this card is dealt with. One of the interesting things is many of you are in a very karmic relationship. You've lived many lives together. You're living this one together. And you can actually cancel out. It's like debt. You can get rid of a lot of karma this lifetime and then just have some fun. It's like 2 little kids enjoying and it, like best friends energy. So let's make sure we deal with all the karmic issues, and much of it has to do with who's right, who's wrong, or parental energy. Much of it has to do with resources. So once we get past the power struggle, which is also this, then it's just 2 souls that are happy to be together. Yes, for some of you, you might be exiting a relationship. Yes, some of you might be mourning the loss of someone. There's also someone new on the horizon, if and when you're ready, okay? Beautiful energy for existing relationships, okay? I really like what I see here. For those of you that are single and looking, can you find love? Yeah, it's karmic in nature. It's a very young energy. You might also be finding someone who already has 1 or 2 children. If you're okay with that, that's something that I'm seeing. The type of energy that's also coming through is pretty confident here. We have a fire sign. We have someone who's really secure in who they are. The more you can get stable and balanced in your life, the more this energy wants to come in. So really just sort out all things, especially when it comes to your money, to your house or your living situation, to anybody in your life that depends upon you, getting all that stuff sorted. And then I see a really strong fire sign. It's a little bit of a surprise when they come in or how they come in. You already have a lot going on, it looks like, with respect to your sort of calendar. So make sure that you're ready and willing to kind of embrace this when it comes knocking. And for those of you that are happily single, good for you. You're being really summed up with this beautiful card, the rebirth energy here. So this is a chance for you to live a chapter for you and you alone, sort of like really embrace this moment and feel like the sky's the limit. For those of you that were a caretaker for someone, it's going to take a moment or two to kind of find yourself again. But when you do, there's this rush of optimism and opportunity that comes knocking. If you've been in a really long relationship for a while and you're finally free of that as well, there is this, again, it's like a breath of fresh air that I'm picking up with this card. For those that never were married but are just really happy with where you're at in your life, have some fun. There's so much playful, childlike energy that's coming through this month. You have the capacity to meet new people. It may just be a like-minded friend. You might also meet someone who looks up to you this month. Again, that sort of mentor energy that you are offering to the world right now. Where do you have the biggest growth potential? Your finances. You've been doing a good job, some of you. You may actually decide to do some work or some volunteer, networking and outreach. This is a great month to do that. And also to spoil yourself a little bit with the Queen of Pentacles here, do something that your heart desires. It's a great time to just be yourself. The Hawk and the Messenger card also is about maybe going somewhere that you've never been before, seeing something new and seeing it through a new set of eyes. Because if you're unencumbered with someone around you, you can just enjoy this from your own perspective. It's a really liberating sort of reading when I'm looking at those that are single and happy. So enjoy. As we take a look at the Destiny card, we have Live Your Joy. Thank you, angels, for supporting me as I follow my joy or my path of joy here. So just like the Sun card, which was also reversed, this is really just embracing that sort of unique quality that is you and not holding back anymore. So one more time, I'm going to say this, like, don't mute your light. Don't put the dimmer switch on. Turn it all the way up. Crank it to the full brightness and allow people to see just how brilliant you are. Look at something from a fresh perspective and step through that portal and try something new. You have a green thumb this month and an ability to do a lot of different things. So it's your own sort of belief system that is either going to propel or block you. So stay open to the possibilities, folks. And I'm really excited to see how it all shakes out for you. Let's go ahead now and go a little bit deeper. We're going to take a look at sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what the universe has in store. Sun, rising, moon. Okay. Sun sign messages. Your wisdom is coming through. Many people may be seeking you out in this period of time. You're coming through as a teacher, as a sage. You may be picking your moment to shine, and I totally respect that. You and you alone kind of know when it feels right to come out of that hermit's cave and say, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I want to do. I love that we have kind of like the traditional wizard in this, because we can also view the hermit as the magician that has grown wise through years, through experiences, and again, doesn't have to always prove that they're right. That's one of the things I've talked about my maternal grandfather. He was so cool in this respect. A lot of times I would see relatives at a table trying to egg him on, and he did not get bothered. He lived to be he was one of the oldest ones on that side of the family. I think he was in his mid-80s. Got close to 90, but part of that was due to the fact that He's like, I don't have to prove that I'm right. I know where I stand. I know what they're trying to do, and it's not worth my energy. The Hermit kind of knows what's worth fighting, what's not, and is using his wisdom to make smarter choices. So use your wisdom. Don't let people kind of try to get you off your path, okay? We have a wolf there as well, which is showing you that when you're ready to find your core group, you can find that too. Wolves like to be in a pack. They can be a lone wolf, but they're happier in a pack. So I see some of you connecting with other wise souls this month as well. Moving on to rising, we have the Two of Swords in reverse. This is the opposite of the upright version, which is often indecision. When the card is reversed, it's saying one of those paths in front of you is going to start to call a little bit stronger than the other one. And there's also an understanding that not everything in life is black and white. Oftentimes, things are a shade of gray, and you just have to pick what feels best. And this card will help you in the Two of Swords moment. You're where you need to be right now, and stay where you're at until you feel the call, okay? Ask questions. How can you overcome Two of Swords, whether upright or reversed? Be super inquisitive, just like the Eight of Swords. Ask others how they've gotten through things. Read up on a situation and see what's out there. It's really like a research, an inquisitive card, a homework card. And once you kind of do that, the path reveals itself, okay? Ultimately, you can look at those two swords as two aces. And sometimes you just have to go for one of them, and don't beat yourself up. You can always retrack and try another path if you need to, okay? That's my message for rising. When it comes to the moon sign message, we have Six of Swords in reverse. Some of you are deciding to go back and do something that you didn't finish. Going back to school, going back to an old relationship and making sure that you've said what you need to. I'm sorry, or I love you, or goodbye, whatever it is. Before you can move forward, you have to clear the path in the past first. So that's one thing. The other is that things are already moving. And when we look at how you showed up this month, you were holding on to something. The sooner you know that the ship is moving, the sooner you can start to steer it. So I think the important thing here is not to fight change. Six of Swords is a card of release. It's like the death card. So is Judgment. In this deck, we got Rebirth, and it's saying that something really beautiful is on the horizon when you're willing to take the first step and just kind of see what tomorrow brings, okay? So this is a time for movement. Movement can happen quickly. This is moving in the right direction, but it's sometimes just fear that's holding you back. Now let's look at one final card, and then we'll wrap it up for today. The final card is your chance to ask a question that has not yet been answered. So if you wouldn't mind, focus on one thing that you would like a little bit more clarity on. I'm going to shuffle the cards, and we'll see what the universe has to say here. You got the Five of Wands here as an answer to your question, and there are so many things that Spirit's just kind of bombarding me with. The first is work smarter, not harder. What's happening here in this group is that everybody's trying to push to get their way, so there's no clear leadership. You came through with the ability to lead, so you might have to step in if that's something that's going on in your life and be the voice of reason. And we saw that also as a general message for work, and that butterfly's right over her throat. So be the voice of reason, lead by example, step out of this competitive energy, and try to remind people that you're on the same, not just the same page, but the same team. So I feel like there just has to be a little more focus. Going back to our Catalyst card, to the diatom, it's about getting crystal clear focus and getting crystal clear motivation. And once that happens, everything else will fall into place. That brings this reading to a close, so if you enjoyed what you saw here, do me a quick favor, hit the thumbs up. If you're brand new, hit the subscribe button, and remember to opt into all notifications. You can also give me a follow across social media. It's always my first and last name on all major platforms, and any additional information that you might need can be found on my website, which is nicholasashbaugh.com. Remember, I do not give any private readings, I do not use direct message, and I don't have extra accounts. So if anybody pretends to be me on social media, please block and report them, and leave me a comment below so I can take down those accounts or report them myself. And I do appreciate all the support. Especially I see this on TikTok and Twitter. It's pretty prevalent, so be smart about that. If you want to show support, you can do it through an official channel right here on YouTube. Becoming a member is a great way. A Of course, for free, you can do it by subscribing. You can also do super sticker, super chat, or super thanks, and that's a great way to help me continue to upgrade my resources and put out high quality videos. So thank you in advance. New videos typically are out every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, unless otherwise announced. And that's it, folks. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Wishing you lots of love and light. Join me for my live stream every Sunday and check out my daily card readings as well. Until then, wishing you all the best. Bye-bye.